Welcome to Creepypasta Theater, a show where we explore the strange world of creepypasta. Join us as we hear tales best left untold, travel roads best left unexplored, and see sights best left unseen. Today's story, Slashertown, by CherryTheWeierdo. This story can be found on creepypasta.wikia.com and is protected by Creative Commons license. There is a place somewhere in this world, difficult to find through conventional methods. It isn't on any map. There's no register of its existence, but I can assure you that it's there, waiting for you to find it and drag you down with it. It's a town of many names, full of people oblivious to the fact. Everyone thinks it has a name. Every town has one after all, but this one has as many names as inhabitants. Someone may believe its name is CherryTown. Others may think it is Woodsboro. There's even a possibility of someone thinking its name is Haddonfield. Think of a name, and someone probably believes it's the right one. Despite this, everyone remains oblivious. None notice the discrepancy. It is natural, of course. After all, it's not the only thing they don't notice. However, a common nickname for this town between citizens is Slashertown. Natural, considering the most prevalent feature of this place. It's worthy of a slasher movie. Lots of them, actually, considering that it is full of killers, and not normal killers. You know the ones, whichever kind you are thinking of. Angry partners, negligent parents, untreated mentally ill people, pedophiles, drug dealers, or even just your classic serial killers. Of course, some of them are like this, but no. The killers here are something more. I'm talking about murderers resembling the ones in cinema. Ridiculous killers, if you may. Cannibals, revived corpses, paranormal creatures, cult members, all of the things you would find in a B movie. Some of these things, of course, do exist, and some of them aren't exactly slashers, but it's strange to find so many of them at the same place in time, especially considering how little this town is, and it's not just a couple, but a large amount of beings. And I believe the nickname came from simplicity. Most of these creatures are killers. They are meant to end you. So I guess Slasher Town came first to Horror Town or Killer Town. It's been called this for years, and changing it now really doesn't make sense. To add to the strangeness of this place, it seems to be stuck in a limbo between the late 90s and early 2000s. Technologically, at least, you won't see a modern laptop, an iPad, or even the current layout of some websites here. Technology seems to stop there, or at the very least is trying to recreate the kind from decades ago. Which is not to say some apps or websites don't exist here, just that they are adapted to the decade. This applies to movies too. They are also released in this place, but the technology, filming, or even performance style is changed to the trends of the time. How this happens is a mystery of the place, one of many. Mysteries like, where is this place located? How come it always appears to be autumn? What makes this town like this? And probably the most important of them all, How does no one seem to notice the danger they are facing? Because nothing is strange to the people in Slashertown. Brutality is the norm. Finding out your child is murdering people on the street, something that should make you suffer, wondering what you did wrong as a parent, to them, it's like finding out your child wants to be a musician. Sure, it's not a stable job, but everyone is doing it. It's probably just a phase. Jobs like necromancers are considered logical in this place. Cults are accepted as any other religion, even if people personally disagree with their view of life. To them, it's just like being Jewish, Catholic, Muslim, any average religion of our world. Abnormal creatures, while strange, are far more accepted here. They don't question it. They don't question anything. Their world is absurd. And yet, they are immersed in absurdity. But that doesn't mean they don't grieve their murdered loved ones. That doesn't mean they don't fear for their lives. But aside from their inner circle, they don't mind the horrific things around them. They don't care about the existence of serial killers, monsters, spirits, anomalies, or whatever else is dangerous in their town. It's normal for them, and the police won't do anything about it. Why should they? They are as oblivious as the rest of the town. They just keep on, trying to survive, but not trying to change things. Maybe they enjoy killing themselves. After all, they are not immune to the nature of the place. And if everyone is doing it, how bad can it be? But their loved ones are damaged. When they lose their attachments, something in these people is altered. The curtain of normality is broken. They start questioning again. They question this place, the way things are, the real weight of their actions. Lots of people die here on the regular. Is it perhaps too regular? Should it be regular? Is feeling like this regular? This pain, knowing how they can't come back. They were my friends, my family. We lived together. We messed around. Movies, camping, unplanned sleepovers, hangouts. I lived the world with them. Now I can't anymore. They don't live anymore. How can people feel this regularly? Am I the only one feeling like this? Why should I feel like this? Everyone seems to be okay with it. And then, as quickly as their freedom came, it escaped. I firmly believe every resident felt like this at least once. They are humans, to some extent, but they all dismiss the idea for their own reasons. Maybe for the standard of their society, maybe because they are murderers themselves. Maybe they are afraid of changing, of recognizing how bad they were. Or maybe it's just more simple than that. Maybe it is just the town acting out. Maybe we just blame something else, something that's not us, so we can easily go to sleep. It really doesn't matter, because we're likely never going to know. And regardless, this is still Slashertown's biggest mystery. There are multiple ways to travel to Slashertown, if you really want to go. I must warn you, however, that none of them are easy, and you may have to dedicate a lot of time to it. Most even depend on chance. One way to get here is with directions coming from a living citizen of Slashertown. Getting them is fairly difficult, but I assure you, Lots of them are online. They are like you and me, taste-wise at least. They go around the internet like anyone else, but precisely for that, they are difficult to find. They don't go around telling people where they live, and even if they did, it wouldn't be of much help, since the place is referred to through multiple names. The only way you could find out about their town is if you asked directly, which risks you getting blocked for asking something too personal, especially if you only started talking to them because you suspected them to be a Slashertown resident. You might ask, how do you identify a resident of Slashertown? There are several ways. 1. Pay special attention to their description of technology. If they describe an older model as new, or complain about a bug that has already been fixed, or maybe never even existed, this happens often with newer sites, there's a possibility for this user to be stuck at a different time period. This could indicate them to be a Slashertown resident. 2. Hear closely their movie descriptions. Movies are different in Slashertown. They are all adapted to decide they are trapped in. So if they tried to convince you to watch a movie, do it. Watch it, and then discuss it with them. Ask about the dialogue, the cinematography, the dress code, whatever you think would change if it happened in another decade. Whatever you do, try to make the conversation sound as natural as possible. They are a person, after all. They are not above freaking out after an odd conversation. 3. Think about how often they joke about death, murder, or other grim topics. This doesn't always mean the user is a resident. However, it's important to know that residents have normalized even the most horrible of atrocities. So it shouldn't be surprising to find some of them lightly joking about this. I would also recommend paying attention to their reaction if some morbid event gets brought up. 4. Inconsistent answers about their region. Slashertown is in any place at a strange time. It's not unusual for their time zone to change without their knowledge. 5. Showing little to no interest in the supernatural. Everyone can be indifferent to the unknown, but when they treat it like something normal, something they have already experienced 1,000 times, then you may have to consider the possibility of them being a resident. 6. Sharing violent or abnormal stories with you as if these are normal events. Also be aware if there's odd details in their seemingly ordinary stories. Little things may be an indication of something bigger, something like what you are searching for. 7. Generally oblivious to the world around them. This may not always be the case, but residents are usually isolated from the world outside their town. They only care about the events of their town, oblivious of important political or cultural events. This is unconscious of them, natural even. Try asking them about a widely known scandal, and if they are unable to even recognize it, there's a possibility they are a resident. If the user shows multiple of these characteristics, you may be in front of an actual resident. You would now have to convince them to give you the address. Doing this is no easy task, and I can't provide a guide for it. Keep in mind that, as strange as they may be, these are people. And logically, they wouldn't like to give you their address. Getting it can be a real chore, and I can only wish you the best of luck. The address will only work if it was given by a resident. It doesn't matter how ridiculous the directions may sound. You will get there if they were given by a resident of Slashertown. And only if they were given to you by someone that you're going with. Getting the address by a third party won't work if they aren't with you. There are other ways to access the town, but they are even more difficult. You can always try to find it on your own. It's difficult. I would say nearly impossible. But there's a slight chance that you can find it driving alone on a lonely road. Another way, a slightly more complicated but also a bit more fruitful, is wanting to escape your small town. For this, you have to live in one, which is already not an easy request. It's more of a chance thing, honestly. I wouldn't recommend moving to a small town just for this, considering the chances. But if you are lucky enough to already live in one, then you can try to fill the second and last requirement: wanting to leave. You have to genuinely want to escape your small, ordinary town with all you got. Despise it, want it to burn, have a genuine desire for every building there to rot. Then, perhaps, you'll feel it. You'll feel the urge to run away and past the limits of the town. If it's true, you'll run forever. At least, you'll feel like it. You'll run and run till you arrive in a small town, one that you know hasn't been there before, one that shouldn't be there, the one you were looking for. These are highly improbable methods, but chances increase if you personally know someone who is already a resident. By the off chance you arrive, don't worry, you will already have a place to live. You're going to need it, because leaving is as difficult as entering. And why would you like to leave anyway? After all, it's your home now. And living in this place is as normal as living in any other. You have been listening to a presentation of Point of Insanity Game Studio. Visit us on the web at poigamestudio.com. Follow us on Twitter at poigamestudio. Look us up on Facebook and email us at poigamestudio@gmail.com.